call the file name forever? I don't know. Alright, I guess I'll count down.
Yep.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, welcome everyone who is tuning into Voltathon. Hope you guys had a great time watching Dick's Banjo-Kazooie run. Excuse me. My name is MikamiHero, and today I'll be running The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and the category we're doing is called No Item Manipulation / No Wrong. So the idea is to finish the game as fast as possible, but we have two major restrictions. The first restriction is no item manipulation, so we're not able to do anything like funky with our inventory, like give ourselves items that we don't have, or you know, change what's on like our B button and stuff like that. So that's one class of item manipulation we can't do, or one class of glitches we can't do, and the second class of glitches we can't do are roll walks. So, you know, warping to a location you don't want to go to, skipping cutscenes to warp to like the beginning of a temple, death warping, things like that. So, because we've got these inherent restrictions, it does bring forth some extra challenges with this category. However, you still get to see some pretty cool tricks, and what's great about this category is that you're able to play it really risky or really safe. So, I'm basically going to be trying to do all the really hard glitches, and if we fail them, it's fine, because we can always just play through the temple safe and we go from there. Yo, Neo, thanks for the good luck, man. Hope you're doing well. So yeah, I'm also playing on the Nintendo 64 version. Ocarina of Time is actually quite weird in terms of like the different versions available for the game. On the Nintendo 64, you have access to versions 1.0, 1.1, and 1.2. And for this category called No IM/WW, there's actually different routes depending on what version you're on. The reason I'm playing on the N64 version is actually because I'm preparing for another category that I want to run. I normally run this category on the Wii Virtual Console version. And the Wii Virtual Console version of this game only has access officially to 1.2. But I will be doing the 1.2 route on this 1.0 cart, only because I'm not too familiar with the 1.0 route. N64 has access to versions 1.0, 1.1, and 1.2, and the reason that's important is because there are certain glitches that you can only do on versions 1.0 and 1.1, and there's actually one glitch you can only do on version 1.0, so depending on what version you have changes what glitches you can do and what routes you can do. So let's get started. So the first step is to escape the forest, and the way we set that up is we get our Kokiri sword, a Deku shield, and then we're going to be escaping the forest really early. Normally you escape the forest by having to complete the Deku tree, and then the little Kokiri guy that's blocking your way will move, but we'll find, well, you guys will see that we have an exploit to get past him. So you'll notice that I'm also backwalking and rolling a lot. I will be throughout this run as well. The reason for that is side hopping, rolling, and backwalking are our fastest ways of movement. The general rule of thumb is that if the direction you have to travel is a straight line, and the straight line distance is more than 4 rolls, then it's generally faster to turn around and backwalk. There are rules to that exception, of course. Like, just through there, I was basically side hopping a lot, only because that area is kind of shaped like a grid. And if the area is shaped like a grid, you generally just want to do a combination of side hops and back walks instead of rolling, because, you know, like, edges cut off quite sharply. So, and we generally call this box movement because you're basically moving along what's called the cardinal directions, up, down, left, right. So we just got our sword there. And the side hop movements and the backflips I'll be doing through here are also to get like specific rupees that are scattered throughout the forest. So I'll do that one here. And then there's actually a rupee in this sign. And then we're gonna do a first, it's not really a glitch, it's more just an exploit, so I can pull it off. Nope, didn't pull it off. What was meant to happen there is what's called bridge clip. If you jump slash on the right frame, Link will actually prop himself up onto the bridge. It's not actually considered a glitch, it's just more that your hitbox moves all the way up and it puts Link on top of the bridge. But if we miss that, it's fine. There's like plenty of other rupees we can get. So we need to get 40 rupees in order to buy the Deku Shield in order to escape. You don't explicitly need the shield to escape, but for the route that I'll be taking, it's a lot better if we do. We buy the shield and equip it, and we're gonna go from here. So now we're gonna escape the forest, so... I'll just do these glitches and I'll explain what the heck they are. Who are we? Good? Okay. So I'll explain what the heck happened there. Oops. That keeps talking to me. Oh my goodness, this is bad. Hello, Pokey. Thank you. Okay, took a bit of time to get past him, but he ended up being nice. Okay, so when I exited the shop, I ended up doing 2 side hops and a jump slash through the water, and I was able to maintain my speed out of the water and do what's called a water extended super slide, or a WES. That happens because when you get backwards momentum in this game and you hold a very specific position on your controller called ESS position, or extended super slide position, Link will maintain whatever momentum he has. The reason we call that a water extended super slide is because we initially get our momentum going through water and then exiting the water. There'll be other types of super slides that we do. We can just do what's called a super slide. We'll also do what's called a hyper extended super slide, or a HES, and we do that by recoiling damage from an explosive and then holding that ESS position and maintaining that speed, and that's going to be one of the fastest ways we travel. And then how we actually got through that guy is we did what's called WES escape. So there's one frame, if I remember correctly, there is one frame where if you let go of your control stick and basically WES into that guy that's blocking him, which we call Pokey. It's not actually his name, but it's just what we call him. You're just able to clip through him and then proceed to escape. If I'd missed that WES escape, it's not a big deal. There's actually another way we can get past him, but I like to do it just because it looks cool. Yo, what's up, Maury? How you guys going? But yeah, Bunny, to answer your question in chat, I'm from Sydney. If there are any other Aussies in the house, please give us your apples. Alright, so now that we've escaped the forest, we're actually going to go to Kakariko. The reason we want to go to Kakariko is we need to get some explosives, which will pretty much break this game wide open. The 2 biggest game-breaking items in this game are a bottle and explosives. But we won't be getting the bottle in this run, we'll only be getting explosives. So here again, I'll be doing another water extended super slide. So by jump slashing off the fence there, I get some backwards momentum, and then coming out of the water, I maintain that speed. And the reason we do that water extended super slide is to avoid talking to the owl that is sitting above Kakariko Village. The reason we're able to skip him is because whenever Link is considered in a busy state in this game, NPCs won't interact with him, and when you're doing a water extended super slide, that is one of Link's busy states, hence why we don't interact with him. Even if I miss that, it's not a big deal, it's just nice to have that bit of time saved. On a more urgent note, it's also because I need to basically grab a Kako in order to get into the well before night. This is what's called Kako Dive. There are other ways to do it, but that's just one of the ways we can do it. So what I did there was called Infinite Sword Glitch. Infinite Sword Glitch, or ISG, basically allows your weapon, in this case a sword, to be active for every possible frame. And that enabled me to grab the Kako and damage it continuously, which is quite risky because if I'm not careful, he could absolutely annihilate me with his mates. But we pulled it off, and then as the Kako was basically, you know, it played that little minor cutscene where he's like, rally up fellas, he wrecked me. I was able to backflip into the well, and the water didn't have enough time to detect that I was actually in there, and I dived through. If we'd missed that, it's not a big deal. So here I just got Infinite Sword Glitch again, and another property of Infinite Sword Glitch is that it allows us to momentarily hover in the air if we shield damage like that. And the reason we do that is to set up for a glitch called Ocarina Dive. It's sort of like how I did the Kako Dive. I basically commenced playing the Ocarina when I hovered above the hole, and then that dropped me from the gap, and then the water didn't have time to detect that I was actually in there, hence why I was able to dive through. And the reason we're doing this dive through is to be able to pick up bomb shoes much earlier on than what we intended to. Just a bit of an FYI, for this category, there's actually a different way you can get bomb shoes. With the 1.0 version, you can do a glitch that's called blank A, but one of the requirements of blank A is you can't have a sword equipped. But even though I'm very comfortable with blank A, I'm not comfortable with some of the tricks that that come after it. So I just decided to play it safe and do the sword route. Also, what's up, Lacrimo? Thank you for the good luck. So now that we've got the bomb shoes, we're gonna go head over to the castle and learn Zelda's Lullaby. Zelda's Lullaby is needed in this category because we actually need to use the light arrows at the end of the run to defeat Ganondorf, and in order to use the light arrows you need magic, and in order to get magic you need Zelda's Lullaby. So we're just gonna head over there now. If there are any donations to read, go ahead, because this section will be, I guess, fairly self-explanatory. But if there's none, I'll keep going. Okay, so now we're basically going to be heading over to the castle. I'm actually going to be jumping up onto this pillar here. And then there's actually some rupees hidden above on the gate here. If you stand on the fence here and then backwalk, or stand on that door rather, you'll get 60 rupees because there's 3 red ones. And I'm going to be collecting 80 rupees because I want to buy a Hylian shield before I become adult. It's not mandatory that I buy the Hylian shield, it's just because of the route we're taking, it's faster. So now we're entering. At the moment, we have no new donations, but if you wanted to be shouted out live in the stream, you can donate here. Awesome, thanks, Big Law. Okay, so now this owl is going to talk to us. Unfortunately, there is a way to avoid this owl, but for what we're going to do, it's not necessary. So what I'm actually going to do is bonk the tree to spawn a Skulltula, and then I'll actually take damage from that Skulltula. The reason I want to be... take damage is because I want to set up for basically a cutscene skip later. I know I mentioned at the beginning of the run that cutscene skips are generally not allowed, but they're only allowed if it doesn't warp you to another location. And the one that we're going to do here, along with another one in the run, they don't take us to a different location. They just take us to the same spot. Which I guess is allowed, because you're not trying to skip, like, you're not trying to warp to another place. So the guards are pretty blind and deaf at night, which means I can take some pretty, not risky, but like, you know, erratic movement and they won't catch me. So sometimes you never know with these guards. They can just, sometimes the guards, most of the time the guards are blind and deaf, whereas other times they are just like eagle vision. So this is another glitch we're going to be doing. It's called a damage boost. So normally you need a Wake Talon so he moves and then you can push the boxes up around and climb this part. But what I'm going to do is this. Give me one sec. Come on. One sec. There we go. Okay, so what I was doing there by pausing and unpausing is what's called pause buffering. In this game, if you pause and unpause with a certain timing, you're actually able to advance the game frame by frame. And that is really handy for some tricks because some tricks can only be executed on a specific frame. But N64 has some very weird pause buffering timing, and I'm still not quite used to it. If I was playing on the Wii Virtual Console version, I would be much more comfortable with the pause buffering timing, but it's not a big deal because I'd rather play it safe and not kill the run. If I'd missed that damage boost there, it's not a big deal. There's actually another setup we can do that that can save our run. So yeah, what that damage boost involved was basically dropping the tube mid-air on a certain frame and then just mashing jump slash, and then the explosion pushes us forward ever so slightly, and the jump slash gives us a bit of height and distance, and we're able to get onto that ledge. And one of the cool things about that section is that, let's say the guards did catch me and they throw me out, the game assumes I did the block puzzle, and the blocks will be in a position where I can just climb up and jump back in. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a good time. For those of you who just joined us, welcome to Voltathon. We've got some really good runs happening throughout this weekend, and any money that we're raising is going towards the Trevor Project. So if you guys have any spare change you'd love to give to a great cause, it would be awesome. And shout outs to Team Voltage for hosting this event. You guys are awesome. Hey, Danzel. I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. So this cutscene is basically just Zelda talking to us about like the history of Hyrule, how the gods formed, and all that great stuff. Call that a knife? Exactly, Maury. Yeah. So some categories that I play through, you don't actually get Zelda's Lullaby. And if you don't get Zelda's Lullaby, that does make a few tricks really scary. But getting Zelda's Lullaby is actually like a big lifesaver here. And like I said with this category, I will try do all the hard tricks. And if we don't pull them off, it's okay, because we've got safe alternatives right around the corner. Also, how are you, by the way, Lacrima? Hope you're doing well. Got a few of the regulars in my chat in here as well. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Oh my god, PB on stream. If I PB'd this category if I PB'd with the VC route on N64 Aggie, that would just be like a shock. But for anyone who's actually interested in learning to speedrun Ocarina of Time, this is one of the best categories to get into because of the reason that I said before. You can play this category super safe or super risky. And when you're starting out, you can just do all the safe strats and you'll be fine. And it's also not like a super long category either. So if you think the any percent route is too short and you want something longer, this is definitely your best bet. So Zelda gives us her letter here, which isn't the reason why we came here. We actually came to learn Zelda's Lullaby. Now, normally what you do is you walk downwards and Impa will teach it to you, but we're gonna do this instead. Okay, so what I did there was I died as I entered the cutscene for Zelda's Lullaby. I died and it triggered the cutscene, but in this game, if you die and you enter a cutscene to learn a song, the game will just give it to you by default. So I've actually got Zelda's Lullaby now without having to watch the whole cutscene. And that's the reason why I damaged myself down earlier with the Skulltula from the tree. It's just so that I was on like a right amount of health to do that. Okay, so now that we've got Zelda's Lullaby, that's actually the child section of this run done. So we're gonna buy the Hylian shield with the rupees we have, and then we're gonna become adult now. So normally to become adult Link in this game, you need to finish the 3 child dungeons, Deku Tree, Dodongo's Cavern, and Jabu Jabu's Belly. Get the 3 spiritual stones, and then you'll get the Ocarina of Time, learn Song of Time, and then go through the door that way. But there is actually something really cool about this Door of Time here. Now, normally I do a really fast setup, but I'll actually sack a bit of time just to show you guys why this trick works. And I can do another setup and it won't waste any time. So this is not part of the run, but I want to show you guys this. There's actually a very tiny gap in this stone slab called the Door of Time. There's a tiny gap right there. And what we're going to do is abuse that tiny gap that they forgot to patch up. We're going to do something called a backwards side hop. One sec. So what I did there was get into position, and that position allowed me, and the angle allowed me to do a backwards side hop, and that angle, that setup that we did there where we did the backflip and the roll, that gave us the perfect angle such that when we do the backwards side hop, we actually clip through that gap. But if you clip through the gap, that's not enough. You actually need to jump, you actually need to go back inbounds, otherwise you void, and that's why I jump slash back in. And that's called Door of Time skip or dot skip. Like I said, me actually going into C up and showing you that gap isn't part of the trick. I just thought for the sake of the marathon, I'd show you like why that actually works. That trick there, the Door of Time skip, is actually one of the biggest like gatekeepers for people when they learn this game. But there's actually some very, very good tutorials for that trick, so don't let that put you off. There's like plenty of resources to help you if you want to get into Ocarina of Time. If we got any donations, feel free to read them out, because this section will literally just be mashing through text. Yeah, pretty much, Bigelow. Link hated music class. Exactly, Matt. Link would rather die than play a song. That's not the first time I'm going to abuse that either, by the way, guys. And yeah, on the note of like learning Ocarina of Time, any one of the versions is like perfectly fine to start speedrunning on, provided it's the NTSC version of the game. So if you're from Europe or Australia, you're kind of out of luck. You will need to obtain the NTSC version. NTSC being like an American copy or a Japanese copy. Actually, that's something I forgot to mention at the beginning of the run, my apologies. The reason we're on the Japanese version is because the text. In Japanese, you can say a lot more for less, and that will save a lot of time throughout the course of the run. But yeah, if you want to get into speedrunning the game, guys, like there's the Wii Virtual Console version, which is what I started on. You can speedrun on emulator. You can play on N64. There'll always be a route for you to play on for a specific category. So just pick a version that you like and go for it from there. Yeah, as what Aggie just said, like on Japanese, this cutscene's only like 5 minutes and a bit, but on English it's like 7 minutes. Like, that makes a lot of difference across the entirety of the run. Yeah, what Big Law just said, speedrun.com is like an amazing hub when it comes to information and leaderboards for like speedrunning in general, and OOT is no exception. We have a ton of resources on that page, and a good forum, and a link to a Discord where we're all willing to help you out. Like, I still ask questions in that Discord, and I've been speedrunning this game for nearly 3 years. Yo, what's up? Okay, never mind. I was gonna say, that comment probably shouldn't be there. Oh, OOT is mega broken, yeah. Like, this is only one way to play the game. If you guys go to that link that Big Law threw in chat, speedrun.com/OOT, you will see there are like a ton of categories that you can run. So people often ask me why I haven't bothered speedrunning other games. It's not that other speed games don't interest me. It's just that there are so many different categories for Ocarina of Time that if I get bored of one, I just jump to another. And then I'll eventually cycle through them and go, hey, I want to do this category again. So Sheik will basically have a massive chat to us here about you need to awaken the 5 sages and yada yada yada. Yeah, what Big Law said, Packer. Just keep it PG, man, we'll have a good time. Okay, so what we need to do is save warp here. The reason we need to save warp here is because the Door of Time block is actually still blocking us. But conveniently, in this game, when you're adult Link, and you save and reset, if you're not in a dungeon, the game will put you back in the Temple of Time by default. If you're Child Link and you save and reset, the game will put you in Link's house in Kokiri Forest by default. So save warping is actually a really useful technique for traveling around the overworld, depending on where you need to go. So the first stop as adult is going to be Kakariko Village. We're going to be getting the hookshot and then actually doing Shadow Temple first. Exactly, Aggie. Something about sages, your destiny, and whatnot. Okay, so once again, you'll see me do like a combination of backwalking and rolling. The distance I'm traveling here is a straight line, and it's more than 5 rolls, so I'll backwalk. This distance here was only 4 rolls, for example, which is why I turned around. Oh my goodness, big lord. Well, that's definitely one way to assert dominance over a spider. In both senses of the word, I suppose, Kipo. So sometimes you'll see me turn around and roll. It's just to straighten my angle because I might be at a slight slant and I don't want to be. So now we're in the graveyard and we're going to race Dampe, and that will allow us to grab a hookshot. This hookshot will be really handy throughout the rest of the run. Alright, so this Dampe race is just pretty self-explanatory, so if we happen to get a donation in that little bit, feel free to lead it out. A really, really good Dampe time is 47, and 47s I don't tend to struggle with unless Dampe hits me with a flame, but it is possible to get a 46, and I still have not got a 46. I've been very close, but I still haven't got it. Because this Dampe race is really just down to movement, like being able to take your corners sharp and not waste like precious angles and whatnot. This will probably be a 51 or a 52 at this point. When I jump slash onto that ledge, I know roughly what it's going to be, provided my my movement here isn't too sloppy. 50, okay. 69. Oh my goodness, big lord. No faith in me, man. Good call, Aggie. 50. So you can actually race Dampe again, and he'll give you a heart piece, but it's not really necessary for what we have to do, but it's fine. We only get the hookshot. Yo, what's up, X? Well, good to see you, buddy. Got it. Yeah, Aggie, you got it, mate. Alright, so we got Dampe's precious gift, the hookshot, and then we're actually going to side hop into this section and side hop out. It voids, because it thinks we're still in that room, and we're done. Alright, so now we're going to actually enter Shadow Temple early. This trick was recently discovered. By recently, I mean like a few months ago. We used to enter Shadow Temple a different way, but this way is a lot nicer in my opinion, and a lot easier for beginners. You basically roll, and then you mash hookshot, and it puts you into this state where you can't move. But then if you unleash your hookshot on a specific 2 frames, like this one, Link will do what's called a hookshot jump. That puts me onto this ledge, and then I get infinite sword glitch there, because like I said earlier in the run, infinite sword glitch will allow you to hover mid-air temporarily, but it also means that if I walk along specific edges, I'm not going to fall off either. And it makes traversing this section much easier. You don't need to get infinite sword glitch, but it makes this section a heck of a lot safer. Yeah, X-Will, we used to have to do what's called a choose super slide teleport onto that seam. And it's not too difficult, but it can be pretty trolly. And you also waste explosives. Yeah, it's all good, Axwell. I understand, buddy. Okay, yo, thank you, Ryder. How are you? Hope you're doing well. So now that we did that section where we've entered Shadow Temple, and now we are gonna go get hover boots. So we're gonna fight Dead Hand here. Now, Dead Hand still scares me to this day. Being 27 and speedrunning this game for so long, Dead Hand still freaks me out. But we've got ways to get rid of him. Rip. Normally, if you time that jump slash right, you will normally hit him twice, but I only hit him once, which is why he didn't die. If you time that and you position yourself right, the jump slash will hit twice and Dead Hand will go splat. Okay, so that gives us hover boots. Now, this glitch that I'm going to do here is not mandatory for this category, but I'm going to do it anyways, because if I can pull it off, it'll look really cool. If we don't pull it off, it's fine, because we've got, like I said, we've got some safety strats that we can play with, like, in the end anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, so just give me a sec, guys. I need to focus here for a little bit. Hey, one sec. Hey, what's up, Duke? That's the first step done. Alright. Just give me a little bit more time, guys. Okay, that's good so far. Yeah, that doesn't look good. Up again. That looks a little bit better. One. Now I just have to think about that for a sec. Yeah, that's good. One sec. Okay, that was a little bit scary there, but we made it. Okay, let me explain that craziness, what I did there. So what I did there, the trick, in its entirety is called boat skip. The reason we call it boat skip is because normally to proceed through the rest of Shadow Temple, you have to ride a boat across like this massive gap, and then you can go fight Bongo Bongo. But we just skipped that entire section. That trick can save up to like 2 minutes, but as you can see, it's really risky to do. And the reason it's risky is because that last section was me traversing through the room before Bongo Bongo and skipping the door without getting the boss key. And so that last section when you do boat skip is quite scary because you have to traverse the room before Bongo Bongo without seeing any textures, and if I voided there I would have died. And then we also have to skip the boss key. So the door to Bongo Bongo is blocked off by a key, and you need to get the boss key to do it. But we're actually able to skip the door by doing what's called boss key skip or BK skip. But doing that section without textures is really, really scary. But if I'd failed boat skip, it's not a big deal because in this category I have Zelda's Lullaby, and you actually need Zelda's Lullaby to ride the boat across. In some categories where you don't get Zelda's Lullaby and you need to finish Shadow Temple, you're forced to do boat skip, and in which case it can be quite scary. The category I'm talking about there is All Dungeons. In the All Dungeons category, you don't get Zelda's Lullaby, but you have to do Shadow Temple, so you're forced to do it. And because this category's, one of the category's restrictions is no wrong walk, normally you can actually skip this cutscene and still get the Shadow Medallion, but that requires dying and triggering like several frames of the warp and then it puts you at the start of the temple and you get the medallion and skip this cutscene, that's considered a wrong warp, so we're not allowed to do it. So pretty much any blue warp that you'll see in this category, I'll have to walk into and watch the cutscene. And it's also really, really cool in this category because we're really only going to be doing 2.5 dungeons. In this game, like for those of you who remember playing through the game casually, when you get all the medallions, the game will trigger the Light Arrows cutscene where Sheik reveals who he actually is. But the game does a pretty sloppy check. It doesn't actually check that you've got all the medallions. It only checks if you've got the Shadow Medallion, which is what I've got here, and the Spirit Temple Medallion, because chronologically in the game, those 2 medallions are the last 2 you get. So the game assumes that if you've got those 2, you would have gotten all the other ones. So we're actually going to abuse that quite heavily. Just get those 2 and trigger the Light Arrows cutscene. And the Light Arrows cutscene will give us the Light Arrows and also form the bridge to allow us to cross the gap to go into Ganon's castle. Okay, so that's Shadow Temple done. If you guys have any donations to read out, feel free. Yeah, Dead Hand, exactly, X-Will. Dead Hand is Monka S. And how are you, by the way, Duke? You doing good, mate? Also, I'm glad to hear you're doing well, the Primo. Sorry if I missed your message before. So, our next stop is Dodongo's Cavern, because we'll actually need more explosives. Because we've got the restriction of item manipulation, we will need to get this second set of explosives. If I didn't have that item manipulation restriction, I would have been able to give myself more bomb shoes using a trick called Reverse Bottle Adventure, or RBA. But RBA is considered item manipulation, and thus it's banned in this category. Okay, so Dodongo's Cavern, oops. There we go. Incentives. Alright, so blow up the door there to do Dodongo's Cavern, and let's go. Dodongo's Cavern is one of the more laggy areas of the game. On the Wii Virtual Console version though, the lag in this section is pretty much like, you don't notice it. But on N64, because it's on the original hardware, it'll be pretty noticeable at times. That's another thing to worry about, well not really worried about, but to consider if you decide to start speedrunning this game. Different consoles will have different levels of lag and also different advantages and disadvantages. And some categories are pretty much better done on particular consoles outright because of either like less lag or the ability to do certain glitches. But for this category that I'm running here, no item manipulation / no wrong warp, it doesn't really matter which console you run it on because there'll be a route depending on what console you're on, so you can take full advantage of it. I'm not actually taking full advantage of it, but that's because I'm not too comfortable with the N64 version route. So we blow up the stairs here, and then we're just gonna traverse up to get the bombs. I backflip up those stairs because climbing up those stairs is generally slow because you have to like hop up and climb up, and backflipping you just hop, 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 hop. Bitch. As Child Link, when you traverse through Dodongo's Cavern, you'll have to move the armors. Thankfully, Adult Link is a bit taller, and you can just climb up. A lot of speedrunners will backwalk here, but I choose not to backwalk because I'm generally scared about those little keys knocking me off. So that little setup with the side hop and side roll was just to get the angle to climb that ledge. Okay, so that's the bomb chest. And as you can see, I'm not using these 2 last bomb shoes because I'll need them to do one other glitch that's coming up in this run. But once again, if I miss that glitch, it's not a big deal, but it'd be really cool if I could pull it off ears. Okay, so that's Dodongo's Cavern done. We just came here to get the bombs, and now we will skedaddle over to the next step. Now the next step is to get magic, because we'll need to use light arrows at the end of the game, and in order to use light arrows, you need magic. And that's the only reason we get Zelda's Lullaby. I think this angle should be good too. Oh, okay. That bomb didn't even go off, so that's a bit surprising. Oops. This angle can be a little bit trolly as well. But we're good. Okay, so normally I would opt to do what's called a super slide here. The reason I'm not going to do this super slide is because in this category, your bomb count or explosive count is generally pretty tight. And just for the sake of the marathon and for another glitch that's coming up that I want to try do, I'll save my bombs. But we'll see how it goes. So we're just heading up here to do magic. There is actually a tech type above here. And if he's being particularly nasty, he can just hop onto me and make me fall down and I'll have a good time basically. So this is the first Great Fairy that we see in this run. These Great Fairies are also pretty questionable in the sense that why were they in a G8 Plus game, but it is what it is, fellas. Yeah, for those of you who have just joined us, welcome to Voltathon. Hope you guys are having a great time. This is a 2-day marathon hosted by Team Voltage, shout out to them, and any money that we raise is going to go toward the Trevor Project. So, hope you guys enjoy the runs, and if you have any questions about Ocarina of Time, feel free to dump them in the chat as well. I'll be more than happy to answer questions on the fly. So that gave us magic then. And let's go. So yeah, I generally try to do marathon runs really free flow. Like if people have questions, they can just chime in and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Because there are sometimes things I will forget. Okay, so now that we've got magic, we're gonna head over to Forest, basically. We're gonna head over to Lost Woods because we actually want to learn Minuet of Forest. So the reason I took damage there by backflipping is because there's actually a Skulltula hidden inside that rock. And the reason I want to take damage is for another cutscene skip coming up, where we'll be learning the Minuet of Forest, but not watching the cutscene involved. And that setup will basically involve dying and yeah. There is a setup that you can do that doesn't involve dying and triggering the cutscene, but because of the route we have to take, it's actually faster to do that setup where you die. Yo, what's up, Snide? Thank you for the good luck, mate. How are you? So, Mido is gonna block us here, except we have our ways past him. If we pull hookshot and backflip at a certain angle, we'll actually hop over him, but if I don't get a first go, I know a backup to get the angle. That's it. There are other ways to get past him without the hookshot, but that's definitely one of the easiest ways to do it. Okay, so now we're in the Sacred Forest Meadow. And what we're going to do here is called a ground jump. We're effectively storing a hop, and that allows us to do that, hop onto that ledge. If I'd missed that ground jump, it's not a big deal. There's actually a way to get up here without having to do that ground jump. And we actually do it in the glitchless category. So here I'm going to take half a heart of heart intentionally. And let me just set this up. Yo, what's up, Green? How are you, mate? Okay, so that was the exact same principle as how I got Zelda's Lullaby. I basically died as I entered the cutscene. The game will give me Minuet of Forest and I don't have to watch the cutscene. So we're actually going to save and not continue, because the next stop we want to go to is Spirit Temple. The only reason we did that was just to get Minuet to go there later, because in order to shoot the light arrows without doing any form of crazy item manipulation, you need to get the bow, and the bow is located in Forest Temple. So we're gonna head over to, what's it called? Spirit Temple now. So I'm gonna try pull off a hyper-extended super slide here just to show you guys what that looks like. Oh. So that's what's called a hyper-extended super slide. By basically holding a very specific position on your controller that I mentioned before called ESS position, and then rolling, targeting, and shielding on a specific frame, I think it's a 2-frame window, you're able to maintain the momentum that you shield from the explosion and go sliding back, provided you hold this ESS position, which I'm holding right now. It's basically just a tiny position that's off neutral. And as you can see, hyper-extended super slides are a very fast way to move through the overworld. If I'd missed that though, it's not a big problem, but I'm glad that I got to pull off one of them just to show you guys how it works. So we're actually going to cross this bridge here, but we don't have the long shot or Epona, but there's ways we can do it. So that's what's called a mega side hop, and then we equip hover boots from that momentum, and that brings us over. So a mega side hop is basically just shielding the damage from a bomb, rolling into it on a specific frame, and then using that momentum to side hop backwards. But you get a lot of distance, hence why it's called a mega side hop. And then we equip hover boots such that when we land on the bridge, we carry that momentum, and then we roll forward and we grab the other side. Fun fact, there's actually a way to cross that bridge without getting long shot, Epona, or getting hover boots, or doing a mega side hop. You can just use your hook shot. It's actually used in a category that I used to run. I don't know if it's still used anymore, but it's really, really cool to see. So we got caught intentionally by that Gerudo because we want to head over to Wasteland now. So this trick here is called Gate Skip. It can be very trolly, but less RNG in chat, guys, and pray that I can pull it off. If you don't mind, thank you. Okay, very good. Kind of. This was trolling me earlier in my practice run, but it's still used in RDO. Okay, thanks, Aggie. Okay, we did it. Wait. Hitting that sign is not mandatory, it's just a meme I've got in my chat. Also, what's up, Charleston? And thank you, Scooter, for the bless RNG. The meme in my stream is, it's not a run until you hit that sign. So we're going to cross the Wasteland here, and we're not going to use the Lens of Truth. Now, I still take a pretty safe route through Wasteland. I did a hyper-extended super slide earlier. You can actually do a hyper-extended super slide throughout Wasteland, and it's called Wasteland Hess. It saves approximately 40 seconds from memory, but it's super risky because there are sections of the Wasteland, for those of you who may have played this through casually, where you will void if you hit that area. And if you're doing a hyper-extended super slide, you want to maintain all that speed, so you'll need to know when to like turn and stuff like that. It's super scary, and I choose not to do it. But when people pull it off, I will admit it looks really cool. Like, very cool. I think I tried it once, Charleston. Like, when I was just practicing one day, I was just like, let's give it a go, and I didn't get very far. So I'm like, nope. So now we've crossed Wasteland. And now we're at Colossus. Now, this next trick here is not difficult in general, but because of the amount of explosives I have, and the fact that I've only got 2 bomb shoes, means that I could screw this up. And if we do, it's not a big deal. It just means I'll have to play the safe route through Spirit Temple. But we'll give what's called, this next trick called Spirit Hover, a try. Spirit Hover, from memory, saves anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes, and it allows us to skip a big chunk of Spirit Temple and get, what's it called, guys? Get Mirror Shield a lot earlier than what we intend. Dang it, Aggie, why? So I'm gonna get ISG again, so then I can hover and do this stuff. But give me a sec, I need to focus a bit. That should be fine. Let's see. I often check for this way to make sure he's not going to come down and wreck me. Check again. There he is. See, he comes down, all you have to do is a shield and just wreck him. I have one bomb shoe, let's just use it for safety. Okay, this looks good so far. Hey, what's up, Ray? Ray Kelt? Hope you're doing well, mate. Hope you're enjoying the Voltage Marathon so far. Okay, so we actually pulled Spirit Hover off. This is not something I normally do. The reason I'm going in here and exiting is because if I fail this super slide, I can just die and end up back here and not have to hover up again. That's good. Okay, so we did a super slide across that gap, equipped it hovers to give ourselves a bit of extra distance, and then we use a jump slash to prop ourselves up ever so slightly, because that ledge is actually a bit higher than normal. We can't just super slide onto it, so I have to do that jump slash in order to make that distance. Okay, we pulled off Spirit Hover. The reason I said Spirit Hover is a bit scary is because if I only had to use bomb shoes, Spirit Hover is not that scary. But because I've only had to use the majority of bombs, bombs require a little bit more timing. With shoes, you can generally have a pretty fast rhythm, but bombs you can only you can really backflip whenever you want, but certain frames of backflipping and shielding will allow you to get height, and others give you distance. So you just have to be a bit careful. There are a few, Bunny. Would you mind contacting me after this run, either on Twitch, Whisper, or through Twitter, which is MikamiHero, and I'll have a search for you and see what there is. We pulled it off, so I'm happy that we did that. Like I said, if we didn't pull that off, it wouldn't have been a big deal, but I'm happy that we did it. So I want to farm for a few more bombs. 11 is actually not bad, but I just want to have a few more just to make sure. Yeah, that works as well, Bunny. All good. So 16 is actually a very solid number. It's actually probably more than what we need, but it's better to be safe than sorry in a marathon run. Pretty much, Raquel. Marathon safe. Hey man, I didn't play it all safe, Ray. I got boat skip and I got Spirit Hover, so I think I deserve a safety strat counter. A safety get out of a safety strat card. Alright, one more risky strat. One sec. I'll have to focus here for a little bit because this is quite scary. Just give me a sec, guys. My man. One sec, guys. Please. Thank you. Okay, so that's what's called Spirit Temple Boss Key Skip. I didn't have to do that because I actually have Zelda's Lullaby, which means I could have played a very safe route, but I wanted to show you guys that that is another trick you can do. Okay guys, I just want to say that all the hard strats are pretty much done in this run. Beyond this section, there's no like absolutely difficult strats that I can opt to do or not do. Also, what's up, Zach, Master Monk? Exactly. We actually went big, Zach. We went big, man.
Not gonna lie, I thought you totally botched it. Not gonna lie.
It's all good. It's all good, man.
Also, I'm here to give you some more hype.
Yeah.
We have a $20 donation from Josh. No message. Thank you very much, Josh, for the fucking 20. Appreciate it, homie. We're now at $100, just over half of our current goal.
Heck yeah, $100. Thanks, Josh.
You guys are awesome. Thank you very much, guys. Continue watching. Enjoy the comment.
Thank you, Josh, for the $20, and thank you, Matt, for that. Yeah, that was basically fighting Naburu Knuckle. There is a strat you can do there. There is a strat with Naburu Knuckle where you can actually skip the cutscene as she's dying, and so you basically void as Naburu Knuckle dies, and then you skip this cutscene. But it's a super risky strat. Surprisingly, it's probably not as risky as some of the strats I've already done, but it's easily the one that wastes the most time. Like, Naburu cutscene skip is what we call it, saves like 18 seconds, but the amount of time you can lose is like 6 minutes, and I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Sorry, I must correct myself. I did not see a message in the email, but it says in memory of everyone. Thank you, everyone. Well, thank you, Josh, for the donation to our Kevin.
Thanks, Matt.
And may he rest in peace.
Yeah, may he rest in peace. Much love, guys. Alright, so now we are going to fight Twin Rover. Now, Twin Rover can be a little bit trolly, so we have to be a bit careful. But, yeah, Zach, I just wanted to say, we did Boat Skip, we did Spirit Hover, we did Spirit BK Skip. We're good. But thank you guys for contributing towards the Trevor Project during Voltathon. We really appreciate it. You weren't doubled for me, Matt, but I don't have stream audio enabled. I like the homie marathon style you're maintaining. Well, that's good, Raykill. I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. Like, Matt, it could be my mic picking you up. I just realized that. Like, my mic could be picking up my desktop audio. So, we basically have to hit the witches 4 times. So that's once, but their pattern can be like super troll, like I said. If I had to guess, Matt, I think that's the reason. Okay, so far the pattern has been pretty lenient. You'll sometimes see me hookshot the other witch, and hookshotting the other witch basically just keeps that other one in a fixed position, or relatively fixed position, like here. I'll hookshot this one so she won't fly far away. I can choose where the $20 goes. Give me a bit of time, Big Law, and I'll have a look at the incentives. But Snide, thank you so much for the $20, man. Really appreciate it. Let's have a look at these incentives. I'm gonna put the incentive towards cutscene % run, Big Law. Because why not? So now the 2 witches combine to become less Monka-S. Just to anyone in chat who knows the meme. Oh no, Zach, really? Alright. So, that is Twin Rover done, which is really cool. One of the more trolly bosses out of the way. And like I said, from this point onwards, it's generally fairly straightforward. There are like a few other things that could troll us endgame, but let's just bless RNG that it doesn't happen. But yeah, to answer your question, Matt, I thought I botched Spirit Temple boss key skip as well. It was just a ton of buffering, Monka S. Okay, what Aggie just said there is another meme within the Ocarina of Time community. When these two witches argue, it sounds like they're saying what Aggie and Pixie are saying. It sounds like they're saying hyenas to me, but they could also be saying what they said, so, it is up to the imagination of the player. Okay, so in a normal run, I won't get this heart container, but just for safety's sake in the marathon, I will. So like I said, those tricks that I did there, the harder tricks in this run, boat skip, spirit hover, spirit temple, boss key skip, they are not mandatory by any means. It's just that if you want to do them and save time, you can. But if you're a beginner and you don't feel comfortable doing them, or you don't feel comfortable doing them, you can just run through the temples like normal. And you can still do some pretty cool tricks. Okay, Zach. I'll let Mikami decide when he's able. Oh, Big Law. I said that I want the donations to go towards cutscene % run. But if, yeah. Monka shake. For those of you who are very confused in chat at the moment, Monka S is a great meme. The cutscene % run. Oh, sorry, my bad, Big Law. My B. In that case, I'm gonna contribute it towards Lacrima's Link's Awakening DX run. Return home / strand everyone. Strand everyone. If I read that goal correctly. Once everyone's stranded. I just picked one, I'm like, yeah, that looks nice. Leave everyone stranded, Kappa B. Okay, so the next section of the run, guys, is to go through Forest Temple. But we don't have to complete Forest Temple. We only have to do Forest Temple up to getting the bow. Because we need the bow in order to fire light arrows. You can fire light arrows and arrows without getting the bow, but this is the only way we can do it without getting, what's it called? Goodness, I can't remember. Doing item manipulation, that's it. Miku's giving me that sweet time save, Kappa. So far, stranding everyone is in the lead, Kappa B. We got that ahead, Monka S. Yeah, for those of you who have just joined us, welcome to Voltathon. I am MikamiHero, and we're running Ocarina of Time at the moment, but definitely stick around, guys. We have a ton of good runs coming up. And if you guys can spare some change, please donate, because any money we raise from this is going toward the Trevor Project. If you want to see what incentives we got, just type !incentives, I believe, and you'll see what donation incentives we got. But if you guys have any questions about Ocarina of Time speedrunning, feel free to let me know in chat and I will answer it. So here we're just gonna fight these Stalfos, which can be trolly, but okay, yes. So we defeat those two Stalfos in order to grab this key. Oh man, good old Monka S. Okay, so normally to clear this section, we need the Song of Time, but we can actually do what's called a ledge clip. One sec. That's called a ledge clip. Basically, on the first frame that Link grabs a ledge, if you hold target, Link will actually clip inside to the ledge that he's grabbing. That was actually discovered by one of our glitch hunters in the community called Skater by complete accident. But when he did find it, it broke so many things in this game. It allows you to skip sections that otherwise were pretty cumbersome to do. So yeah, shouts to Skater. So what I'm doing here is buffering to the second frame of damage, and we do what's called a boost, damage boost. Some people call it mega jump. I call it a damage boost because you're using damage to boost yourself. Don't know where the term mega jump came from, but Monka S to that. His Monka senses would be tingling. Alright, so what we're doing here is a ground jump to skip this block. That way we don't have to do the block puzzle. We actually can't do the block puzzle because we don't have a strength upgrade, so we actually have to do these ground jumps to clip past these blocks, which is why having plenty of explosives here is really nice. Alright. That part there where we roll over twice to this section, it's actually a section that can screw up a lot of new runners. If you are learning this category and you're struggling with that skip, my advice is roll earlier than you think you have to. A lot of people tend to roll really late off the block and get no momentum. If you roll while you're still on the block, you'll get momentum from the slide. So just keep that in mind. I used to struggle with it a bit until someone told me that, and it's been pretty peachy since then. Right, so we're almost at the bow, guys. We're gonna have to fight three more Stalfos, and just to play this super safe, I'm just gonna get some extra hearts. In other categories, I would actually have to be on as minimal health as possible, but for No I Am, it's fine. All good, X-Will. I used to struggle with it, but then when someone told me that, I'm like, huh. And then it just worked. Oh my goodness, Zach, that is vicious. Okay, so we've got Fairy Bow now. Now we can actually finish up. So we save warp once to get out of... So when you save and reset in a dungeon in this game, it will put you at the front of the dungeon. So we do that. And then what we do is walk out of the dungeon. And that'll put Link in the overworld-ish. And then you save and reset again. And that'll put you in the Temple of Time if you're adult Link. If you're child Link, it'll put you in Link's house in Kokiri Forest. And now that we're going to be in the Temple of Time, this will actually trigger the Light Arrows cutscene. Where Sheik reveals himself. But just to explain again why this works. In this game, normally people assume you have to get all the medallions in order to trigger this cutscene, like beat all the temples and whatnot. But the game does a pretty sloppy check. It only checks if you've got Spirit Temple Medallion and Shadow Temple Medallion. Because the game assumes that if you've got those two, you would have got all the others. So to trigger this cutscene, you just have to get those two and then you're done. So in terms of temples, the minimum number of temples you have to beat are those two. Funny enough, you can actually trigger the Light Arrows cutscene without doing any dungeons. If you were allowed to do item manipulation, you could do a class of glitches called RBA, Reverse Bottle Adventure, and you could write those medallions into your inventory without ever stepping foot in a dungeon. Hopefully one day, if Voltage have another streaming marathon, I would love to showcase that category, because You don't step foot in a single dungeon, yet you do just crazy things with your inventory, trigger this cutscene, and away you go. But because we're not allowed to do item manipulation in this category, we actually had to physically go into Spirit Temple and Shadow Temple to clear them. And also a bit of fun trivia. That category where I was talking to you, where you can do item manipulation to get the medallions and whatnot, that used to be the old any percent category before wrong warping got found. Exactly, Mori. Actually, you do double Gim and Deku Tree and Mikami. Oh yeah, that's true. Sorry, Zach. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, so what Master Monk said there is true. You don't actually... The old way of getting the medallions through RBA was what I just described, but there's actually a new type of item manipulation got found, which Master Monk just called GIM. GIM stands for Get Item Manipulation. Without getting too technical into the details, you basically get an item, but trick the game into thinking that Link is, you know, in a body of water, so he hasn't actually submerged yet. And it's like, if you got an item in this game underwater, like let's say there's a heart piece at the bottom of the water and you pick it up, it won't do the whole like Link got an item until you surface. So you trick the game into thinking that you're in like a dive animation and you're still underwater. You grab an item and then you basically change its value. It's as weird as it sounds, it has some really funky properties. And in the new No Wrong Walk category, you're actually able to what we call GIM a bottle and also GIM light arrows. It's really, really cool. I guess in that case, Master Monk, if I could get No Wrong Warp in, I'd have to show off the double GIM route, which I haven't done in a while, so it could get very messy very quick. And you also have to do those Kokiri hovers as well, which is like even scarier at the end, Monka S. Also, for those of you who haven't played Ocarina of Time, spoilers, that's Princess Zelda. If you guys have any donations, feel free to read them out, by the way. Okay, I'm just gonna put my phone on silent because it's the last stretch of the run. I don't want to be taking any calls just yet. Aw, man, you just ruined my lesson. I want to give a few shout-outs to everyone in chat, and Master Monk, X-Will, and Mystery are also fellow Ocarina of Time speedrunners. So if you want to check out some awesome Ocarina of Time content, definitely follow those three guys as well. Sorry, three people, my apologies. So like X-Will Marketplace is currently running through glitchless, Master Monk is running through 100%, and Mystery, aka Juke, is just running whatever he feels like. He's just a beast, guys. But if you ever decide to stop by Mystery's chat, what you have to do, no matter what happens, guys, the first thing you have to say in his chat is Monka S. It may not make any sense to you, but trust me. Monka, all in lowercase, and then capital S. That's all you have to say, and then he'll know that I sent you. Ah, much love, X-Will. Yeah, we have a lot of runners in the Ocarina of Time community. It's a really friendly place. If you want to get into the game, there's a lot of people you can check out, and everyone will be willing to help you as well. Trust me on that. Like, it's a very friendly community. No one's gonna judge you, except if you play on N64, Kappa. Actually, I'm playing on N64. What the heck am I saying? Not like this. Hey, X, what's up, man? Nah, no one's gonna judge you. You can play whatever console you want. Like, you know, if you've only got access to emulator, use that. If you've got a Wii but no N64, play on PC. If you have an N64 and you want to get into, like, some of the OG categories, go ahead. You're judging me, Aggie? Rip. Ripperoonie, Ian Pepperoonie. Okay, so because we triggered the light arrows cutscene, this bridge formed, which is nice. You can actually cross this bridge without triggering the light arrows cutscene and the bridge, but it's really scary to get across. Okay, yes. I'm also going to save here in case I get wrecked on bombs. We're going to be doing something called a trial skip here. There's actually a very slim area of the loading zone here that we can trigger without having to finish the trials within this barrier. Oops. There we go. The big boys play on IQ though. Oh, dang it, Zach. Why? Okay, time to fight the Dinofos, and we charge magic, let them get in close, and then we basically Beyblade them. This may seem counterintuitive, but that is like the fastest way to kill them. Because they just flail around, and do. And then we're gonna fight some Stalfos next, Monka S. This is generally us. I don't like fighting Stalfos, they're a little bit mean. Chinese cheat machine. Actually, yeah, funny, I forgot to mention that. I'll try and mention that at some point. But, there is another version that I forgot to mention because it's not played on too often. It's called the IQ. It was, it's the Chinese version of the Nintendo 64. The reason why China had their own version of the Nintendo 64 was because up until a few years ago, China had a console ban because they were worried that kids are going to get too into video games and not study, which I find funny because they just all play Dota anyways. But Japan still wanted a slice of the Chinese market, so they created a console that wasn't marked as a video game console, but it was more of a plug and play. And plug and plays were allowed because DVDs and VCRs were plug and plays and whatnot. So that bypassed pretty much any of the laws surrounding a console ban. And that's why they're allowed. So China got the IQ, and it may seem like a massive meme, but the IQ actually has some advantages over all the other versions. The IQ version uses Chinese text, and it's actually the fastest in terms of text speed. And specific sections of the IQ are also surprisingly well optimized. Well optimized in the sense that there's like not much lag. But IQ also has some inherent disadvantages as well. Namely, saving and resetting is slow. Pause buffering that you see me do throughout this run is actually terrible on that console. You can also get some weird memory glitches where like some items just won't load on IQ, but there are some categories where the IQ version is actually the fastest version to use. Somehow. But, yeah. If you manage to track down the IQ version, and that's all you've got, surprisingly, I would say, go for it. That's true. Actually, Zach brought up a good point just here. The Master Quest version of this game also has its entire set of speedruns in terms of categories you can run and whatnot. And some of them are also very interesting. Like this category that I'm running here, no item manipulation /WW. It's very different on the Master Quest version, and you do some really, really cool tricks. Oh, OOT GameCube X-Will. I don't have that version. I'd love to crack it down just to say that I've got it. Like, even if I got the Japanese version for the lols, I'd be happy with it. Resetting was Monka S. Oh, how can I forget? Yeah, the GameCube version, which is different to the Wii Virtual Console version, is also another version. That has a lot of disadvantages, but there's actually a few big advantages. There's two big advantages to the GameCube version, which are not apparent, and it's really weird why they are, but just give me a sec. I'm gonna fight Ganondorf. This fight is a little bit annoying because of the lag. Oops. Just gonna back away a little bit. This section is a little bit Monka-esque. Ooh, that was close. It's so brutal, Zach. I don't do that route when I play No I Am MQ. Okay, so what was I saying? The GameCube version of this game actually has two big advantages that aren't obvious. The first advantage is that if you do an explosion out of bounds, the radius I think is doubled, which means you're able to abuse some out of bounds explosive properties, which aren't possible on other versions. The other advantage is that you're actually able to dupe or duplicate more sculptures, and that's useful for one particular category. You can still dupe on like Wii VC and N64, you just can't dupe as much. Just a bit of food for thought. So, you know, each of the versions have their inherent advantages and disadvantages. It really just comes down to what category you want to run and how serious you want to take it. But if you're just starting out with Ocarina of Time speedrunning, just play on whatever version you have, and then if you want to get more into it, then figure out what the best version is for what category you want to run. Okay, so Ganondorf is done. And now we're going to do something called a Void Warp. This is actually quite scary because we can get trolled by these rocks, but let's see. Here we go, fellas. Bless RNG. Good. There we go. I hope. Okay, we're good, we're good. Didn't get rock trolled, which is nice. I actually can't remember the explanation, Charles. So for a long time, we weren't allowed to do that Void Warp because it was considered a wrong warp. But then some argument was made for it not being a wrong warp. And then it was allowed in this category. Oh yeah, X-Will. I've been told that if you target there, it can potentially give you a much nicer spawn for the rocks. Because if you don't target, you'll grab the ledge, and then all that's in your view is like a tiny bit of the ledge and Link's hand. But if you target, it flips the camera around to see more of the platform, and I think because of that, it gives the rocks like a higher chance to land somewhere else, if that makes sense. It's the correct load zone, just not intended exactly, Red Kelt. So that Void Warp there, basically, you void and then you hit a loading zone at the same time, I think. But it wasn't allowed for, like, the longest time. Yeah, X-Will, that's what I've been told, and ever since I started pushing target there, I have had much better success with that trick, but I've also been trolled before, so anything can happen at this point. Oh, speaking of like the IQ version that I was talking to you before, chat, that tower collapse sequence there is actually much faster on IQ. It's insane how fast that section goes. The any % category before it became what's called a GIM route used to be run on IQ purely for that. Tech speed and that collapse sequence was a lot faster. So now it's the last section, guys. We'll be taking on Dorf. So yeah, my personal best for this category is a 1:23:49, and that was done on the Wii Virtual Console version. So I did lose a bit of time here. Give me one sec, guys. I also didn't jump slash, which... Oh no, I did jump slash, never mind. So the reason I did the super slide into this cutscene is because normally what will happen is when the scene starts, Ganon will slash Link's Master Sword out of his hand, but if you super slide and hold shield in this section, when he knocks away the Master Sword, he actually doesn't. So you can still use the Master Sword. In some categories where you have another weapon to use, like the Bigoron Sword or Megaton Hammer, it's fine. But in this category, if he knocked away my sword, I would actually have to use, I would have to use a hook shot or a bow, which would just be very stupid. But yeah, I didn't do the most optimal route for N64, so I probably lost a bit of time due to lag and whatnot, and a few mistakes, but I'm still very happy with how this is turning out. It's not over yet, guys. Ganon's 2 phases. We basically roll to get him to slash and then roll under him to crouch stab his tail. Okay, I didn't jump slash, so I'll move over here and jump slash. But he knocks that over for whatever reason. Hello. There we go. So yeah, I did forget to jump slash, my bad. But it's okay. Because normally that is done in like 3 hits. You hit like the part of his tail. And yeah, that's phase 1, and then now you do phase 2 where you get your Master Sword back, but even though we already have it. So that's cool. So I'll jump slash his tail and then just back up a bit because he will flail. Now I'll play it safe. The reason I'm playing this safe is because he can kill you because he does 4 hearts of he does 4 hearts of damage. Okay, time will be coming up on the last hit of time will be coming up on the last hit. Yep, sorry, just scream it. Okay. Whew, when you kill 20, yeah, pretty much, mystery, pretty much. Okay. So, time will be coming up right about time. Alright, everyone. Hope you all enjoyed that. That was Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. No IM/WW. We're way under estimate, so that's good. Made a few mistakes, but overall, I'm pretty happy with how that went. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and Voltage, thanks again for allowing me to run that. And I hope you guys enjoyed the...
We appreciate you.
No worries, Matt. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of Voltathon. We have plenty of good runs coming, and you guys should definitely stick around, because it's going to be amazing. Alright, I'll catch you guys later. Thank you. I'll jump into setup. Hey, Bando.